Okay. Let's see what this does. Chat. Okay. Anyway, I can see the chat on this thing. What's this do? I don't have another camera to switch to. So the answer is apparently no. I don't have any way to actually see the chat because I'm not seeing share marker. I'll just do this. See what happens. Everything the way I want, of course. All right, so I cannot see the chat, so this which makes live streaming kind of useless. Nice job. It's okay because I don't see any viewers either. But so I want to try a little experiment. Tronix first, because right now my computer is offline. My laptop either needs a new hard drive or something else with it. So that's just put videos in an even harder standstill lately than it has been. I was hoping to start getting some more video production in, but that hasn't happened. Now I don't have anything to do it with unless I can get to my dad's computer, and sometimes I can't because he's using it. So we're not going to be able to. So I'm trying to find out other options in case this kind of thing happens in the future. And one thing I want to try to do here is there's no way I can bring up any kind of other menu. Is there? No. Okay, so I'm trying to stream on the tablet just to see how that would work out. Apparently I'm not working out too well because at least if I'm doing it on the computer, I can switch windows and see the chat that way. You know, I could probably do it using the phone, but I've got another use for the phone. And this auto lighting thing is not helping me out either. Um, so they put out the teaser sometime, it was yesterday, according to this, uh, for the new She-Ra Princess of Power. Now you're probably wondering why does it matter that an adult boy is talking about She-Ra? Because when I was a young boy, She-Ra was the spinoff of He-Man, and I enjoyed it very much because I didn't see it as a girl show; I saw it as a show. It was a show, a superhero that spun off of He-Man. It gave girls a better um, female He-Man than the toy commercials and the mini comics did. If you read my site, you've seen how in the free comic inside, She-Ra there's kind of psychotic, a bit racist. You really read between the lines. For example, she has a nasty habit of turning ugly people into butterflies, whether they were a threat to her or not. So that's just kind of mean on her part. Um, Turned Catra's cat people into stone statues. She, when they were attacking, don't get me wrong, they were attacking the uh, Bright Moon, and she was trying to rescue it, but you wouldn't see that happen in the cartoon. And that's basically about a rebel group trying to overthrow tyrannic overlord. And there have been other shows about Final Fantasy shows about female heroes that have been good, that have been a little more on the girly side. Even good. I haven't necessarily gotten into all of them. A couple of them I watched a few episodes and might be okay. So I'm not saying that She-Ra can't be girlish, but just as long as it's not as bad as it was. Well, the mini comics were kind of insulting. Because the thing is, I like for good story. I can freaking watch Sky Dancers. you've ever seen that show, that tells you something about how open I am sometimes in my tastes. Um, but I don't know if you can hear the air conditioner in the background or not. It's starting to get a little warm up here. It's a little warmer up here than it does down here. And weather here in Connecticut's been um, pretty cool the past few days, and now starting to warm up again. Supposed to be warm and humid in the next few days, so I at least need the conditioning on up here. But the new Shira looks like it's another one of those reimaginings. You know, the things that's so different from the original. It would probably be more acceptable just making an original all new series, but it's never going to happen because they want the selling power of the name. And there have been some worries about the show, and Voltron Legendary Defender is a huge departure from the original, and from what little I've seen of it anyway. And because I don't have Netflix, so I won't be able to watch this on Netflix either. But I mean, it's not. Doesn't mean it's a bad show. It's got a lot of going, including other people who liked Voltron. My favorite reboot will still remain the Devil's Due comic run. But you know, there have been people saying all these different things about She-Ra, about the show, just from what we haven't heard that much about the plot. We've heard a little bit, and I did write up an article on that. Then we've also seen the pictures. I did my thoughts on what I thought it might be, and now I'm going to take a look at the actual trailer itself and see what it actually is. So these are my live thoughts on the trailer. Make sure I get line up enough. Adora. Who are you? What's going on? Balance must be restored. You do not yet realize the power you have. The time has come to shape your destiny. You're not making any sense. I don't understand. For the honor of Grayskull! Get Grayskull. Good. And that's it. Adora. Who are you? What's going on? Now they're just repeating it for the end cards. You do not yet realize the power you have. I want to. Let me turn autoplay off. I'm gonna look into that. So that was about a minute, um, and that included slightly repeating it for the end card. So what it didn't really tell you a whole lot, which teasers don't, and that's why I usually don't bother with teasers. But I thought it made a good practice. And I will say this: I like the transformation sequence. I have to watch that. How do I make that happen? Without having to watch the whole video. No. No. I do like the design. I do like the design of the Sword of Protection. That's what they're still calling it. Well, it's not really a good full look at the transformation. She didn't say by the power of Grayskull and or yeah. She shouldn't say for the honor in this until after she's transformed, which would be wrong, but that would be nitpicky. I mean, usually the sequence really be she picks up the sword and she goes. There is some visual difference between She-Ra and Adora, which is something that was in the original series. there are a lot of people who say that the difference between Adam and He-Man, they look too similar. The only difference was a tan. Um, I think there is some maybe slight change in the facial. I need to one day I want to actually double check on that. But here's the thing. But they've definitely tried, at least since New Adventures, to make Adam and He-Man look different. But Adora and She-Ra have always been different enough in their looks that you could kind of tell there was they didn't look as much like the same person. So the guys worked, I think, probably a little better. Um, oh, already up to 10 minutes. Jeez. Um, pardon my arms. That the transformation looked pretty cool. Way zoomed up and with light flashed, and there's a little more to the transformation than just standing there and then and flash, and then you're suddenly in your other form. So then there, I am fix this. Um, but uh, sorry. That's why I do better with a script. I don't think the thing looks all that bad though. Shira's design is okay. I know there are people who said that she looks a little too much like a boy, but I'm I'm I don't quite see that. I think the problem with pausing on here is that you can't really see. I mean, they put this. This is what happens when you pause in the app, which is kind of annoying. But she's supposed to look. She's supposed to be, the most powerful woman in the universe, at least in the original show, because she's He-Man's twin sister. Um, I mean, I kind of see that, but I also kind of see she's supposed to be what 13 in this series, which is already kind of strange. I mean, even in the reimagined He-Man, Adam was maybe 16, so they made her younger for some reason. I think they can't get a little girl audience for the 16-year-old. Elena of Avalor is 16, and she kicks a lot of butt, and she's pretty cool. And she's a princess, and she has magic powers, and she fights bad guys, and she does other stuff. And so I don't think they necessarily had to de-age her that far down. 16, I think, would have been just fine. But I mean, she does look like a kid. She doesn't look like a woman. So I don't expect her to have the same body type as a woman, as an adult woman. Um, and the transformation's okay, but but you run into the problem with teasers. Why I'm doing this because I usually don't talk about too much about teasers. Uh, they didn't learn anything. The animation looks good, but it looks like maybe the same people who do Voltron Legendary Defender for DreamWorks, and because DreamWorks is also doing She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. So now everybody's got to be a princess. Like you can't be a princess who gets along with non-princesses. Again, Helena of Avalor, which is a show on Disney Junior, she has friends who aren't princesses. Sophia the First used to. For some reason, that became all princesses. I don't know what they're doing now. That show I didn't watch very often. Helena of Avalor, probably a little more than two, and even that I haven't seen all that often. And that's not a show made for me either. Neither is My Little Pony. Look how many boys in college watch My Little Pony. And where do you think the bronies come from? Including some of the really scary bronies. But that's for another discussion. I mean, I'm watching this, and I haven't seen any of the other reactions. I've got a lot of catching up to do as far as YouTube because I've been having computer issues. I'm trying to watch it on a tablet. It's not easy. I don't know. It doesn't look too bad. What getting me is when I hear the story behind it, and I look at some of the images. It looks like Adora and Catra were friends or something, and that doesn't seem right. Glimmer is now an adult and seems to be Shiro's trainer, and that's not right. Bo, for some reason, as Director Skin, I want to see him in action first before I make a decision on that. But he's also Adora's age because Bo is always Adora's love interest, and actually, that's not even really true. I'm not sure, never sure that Adora or Shira was really all that interested in Bo, in the same way that Tila was for Adam and He-Man. In the mini comics, they're I guess they're a couple, but the mini comics seem to seem to just embrace the girly in a way that was way too strong. You got stories where Shira, where Adora finds costume jewelry that for some reason was buried in her backyard, or the equivalent, and that story is about cast a spell up putting a curse on the mirror because she knows Catra will steal the costume jewelry and play a dress up, and it ends up putting her in a catatonic state, no pun intended. And the mini comics are just weird. Sometimes they're very girly. Sometimes, other times, She-Ra will freaking end you. Mess with She-Ra, you get butterflied. Mess with mini comics She-Ra, you get butterflied. Go read my free Comic Inside articles. You'll understand. Um, I'll I'll add a link to it for the replay. Um, some from the replay, and I don't think the show necessarily looks too bad. I mean, but it looks like they've just from what I've seen, it seems they've changed enough of it that I probably would have found it more interesting as its own property, its own concept. And there have been other shows that have used a similar concept. You have things, while I mentioned Sky Dancers, it's probably a stretch. Maybe something closer like Princess Guinevere and the Jewel Riders. It would be one. Did they call that show something else in other countries? I don't remember. I mean, that was a very girly show. It was also kind of a lower budget show, not Winx Club lower budget, but certainly not the same. But and you've had other female protagonists in fantasy shows like Wildfire or Lady Lovely Locks. I mean, there is a history of this. They could have made this an original series showing a girl hero in the vein of He-Man and She-Ra, which could also be in the vein of Captain Marvel, Shazam, or whatever you want to call him. Or I've created kids superheroes myself over the years, especially when I actually was a kid. My first very superhero I ever created was a kid. Well, I got to watch her. I wish I had this thing and bring up chat. I don't know how to do that. But I just lost the viewer. Well, I'm gonna try and bring up this video on the phone. Like I said, this is yeah, I know it's kind of messed up. I can do that. Let's see. I need to. Come on. I want to. So I want to see if I can get. Oh, here we go. So I can do this. So this is how I can see a chat room. And let me just pause this. And let me actually pause it. So now I can. Okay, that's gone. So, I mean, yeah, now reads one viewer, me. Now they're even reading that I'm viewing it. So hit pause. Okay. Like I said, this is another experiment in live viewing. I want to add. I want to just when I have computers again. I want to do more live streaming stuff. But I mean, the more I'm hearing about it, the story, and let's see if I think it might have been better off making it an original series rather than trying to make it as a She-Ra. First off, She-Ra spun off from He-Man so tightly that the two are kind of interlocked. So having him a She-Ra show without a Masters of the Universe show just seems a little off. Unless you want to say this is in the continuity of New Adventures or something. I don't know. But, I mean, if I had Netflix, I would definitely check it out. I mean, I'm not against, superhero stories. I've been watching Miraculous on TBD's Kids Click programming block. And it's actually, no, that's a pretty good show. I don't think this should have been a She-Ra show. This maybe should have been an original property. But that's the problem I have with it. I'm not automatically assuming it's um, has any kind of social political motivations just yet. I won't know that until I actually see it or hear some plot lines or whatever to see how Bo was treated. I mean, Bo was one of the few male characters on the show, along with Cowell and Broom, and they were treated just like any other member of the team, just the same way as Tila and the Sorceress and everybody, the Marlena, the three human characters are the good guys. And even Evil Lyn was like the most competent of Skeletor's minions, which is why she was always trying to get power, his power usually. But but they treated the original show treated the female characters right. So when they did the spinoff, they treated the male characters right, and it was still mostly about She-Ra and female heroes. But Bo was right up there. Bo was basically Tila, which is how it was. Frankly, is how that show should have worked. It was selling a girls' toy line, basically the gender flip version of He-Man, but it wasn't just the gender flipped He-Man. It was its own show, its own storyline. Adora's situation is kind of reversed from Adam's. You know, Adam is the defender. He protects the kingdom. He protects the crown. He protects the rulers. He has a life that's relaxed, full, peaceful. Meanwhile, here's She-Ra, who's basically in the middle of the Civil War, trying to defeat the evil Horde because Filmation thought they could use the Horde better in that show, even though the Horde is technically part of the Masters of the Universe toys, which makes it a bit more disappointing that the She-Ra figures don't look. I've never seen them all together, so maybe I'm wrong, but the She-Ra figures never look like they kind of um, balanced out well with the Masters of the Universe figures until the classic line. Um, I could be wrong about that, but Mattel gave them the flowing combable hair because it's the girls' line. Never mind the fact that you're basically giving them the girls' version of Masters of the Universe, but not really giving them Masters of the Universe. And I'm going to have to explain that because at some point I want to get into the He-Man and She-Ra cartoons in stronger detail. Um, I mean, overall, I had a thought and I lost it. Anyway, this show could end up being good. It might end up not being good, but I would rather it be good and bad on its own merits. My question is, how well is it adapting? How well was connected to source material? Because to me, as I've written before, these are not character concepts to me. These are characters. These were the characters that I grew up with that had an influence on me and my morality and my worldview and how I see heroes and the kind of stories that I want to write myself. Um, why can't I get centered? So I really want to take and I would love to be able to see the show when it comes out, but I will wait for a stronger trailer before I get any kind of really strong idea. But that's kind of right. It looks like might be a pretty good show. The She-Ra redesign doesn't bother me for what they want to do. I don't really see her as being boyish. I see her as being this warrior. I want to see. I mean, and I've seen the difference. I've seen, I've heard some of the people complaining about Marvel comics and the way they draw their Marvel's version of Captain Marvel, which is Carol Danvers, who I always thought was better as Warbird. She only exists, she's only Captain Marvel because Marvel Comics continues to screw kept us fans of Billy Batson over because they got to have the name, even though they can't find a character that hangs on to it. And even Carol Danvers really isn't doing that well. But I've seen the comics where she was drawn with more manly features, and I agree with that. Some people were even calling her Carl Manverse because she was being drawn in so much male proportions. And I wonder if that's really a social political thing or just somebody can't draw women because I have trouble drawing women. So it could be both. It could be political and because they want it and because they can't draw women. So as far as I know, it could be both. Um, but I mean, I kind of see that. I don't really see it as much. I kind of see it maybe from a certain angle, from another angle. I can still also see this is simply supposed to be a very powerful woman. I mean, in my Challenge to the GoBots review, I made a joke about Grace Jones, which was mostly about the kind of characters Grace Jones plays, but she still looks, she's very muscular. She's very, she doesn't have a large chest. She she had what someone would consider manly proportions, but she still looked female. You look at her and say, yeah, that's a woman, just a woman who could barely beat the snot out of a lot of guys. And a lot of female bodybuilders do that. And she's supposed to look like a powerful woman. Again, most powerful woman in the universe. That's She-Ra. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily against the design. But I'm looking at this. The more I look at the story, the more I think, is this something that could have been better as its own property, rather than taking these names and slapping them on new characters? Battlestar Galactica effect, if you will, only on She-Ra. Which Battlestar Galactica, the remake, supposedly a very good show. This might not be a very good show. Voltron Legendary Defender is supposed to be a very good show. It's really takes a lot of liberties from out of the source material, though. So I mean, it's not a sense of is the show going to be good. My question is it going to be a good adaptation? And if it's a terrible adaptation but a good show, you might have been better off making it an original property. Um, so that's pretty much my thoughts. Maybe when the full trailer comes out, I'll have a better idea of what's going on and the story, and full look at the story, a look at what Hordak is like, and all that other stuff. But I'm gonna go pop this up, run to my dad's computer real quick, and pop this up on my website. Um, so I didn't expect anybody to show up because nobody shows up for my live streams. Um, but I at least wanted to take time to test the stuff because I want to do more live streaming stuff once the computers are back running. Live streaming artwork, live streaming, uh, doing kind of live streams where I do stuff. And and once I get the computers working, I'm going to start trying to work on it. But I also want to do more video content. My focus is still going to be in my articles and comic stuff, but I do want to make more video content because they are fun to do, and a lot of you have subscribed to me, and I appreciate it. And so we'll work that out. So maybe we'll try this again when the other trailer comes out, when the full trailer comes out. And if by some chance I do get to see an episode, I'll probably do something about that. And I have more content that I want to do involving the He-Man cartoons. And of course, on my site, I still look at He-Man and She-Ra mini comics. I've been reviewing the old He-Man newspaper strips that were collected by Dark Horse. And so you can go to my website, bwspotlight.com, for more Masters of the Universe and more other stuff as I continue to try to try to create and discuss other creations, I guess. But I'll do it for here, and see you later. See how this. I'll continue to try to work with this thing, and hopefully be able to do some decent live streaming as well as the video stuff. First, I gotta get my computers running.